in GEN.YAHANNA. As you know, at the UPK, we teach that according to the Bible and history, we got all the history too, that the black man is the real Jew. Yes, you black man, whether you're in Edmonton in London, whether you're in Moss Side in Manchester, Liverpool, Tuxteth, wherever you are the real Jews. And in these last days, God's waking you up, man. In the Bible, when it says he's going to wake up his people in the last days, you are his people in the last days that are being woken up, man. And you see it, man, we get phone calls all the time. You know, I want to learn about us being the real Jews. And that's in the Bible, that in the last days, the real people of God, they would wake up. And it's not the Jewish man. You know what I mean? He's been awake since what? Like the Khazarian Empire, you know what I mean? If he was a real Jew and he was awake. But according to history and the Bible, he's not the real Jew. So-called Jewish man of today, he's a convert, meaning he learned the ways of the Jews to not get mixed up in a war between Christians and the people that followed Mohammedans. They used to call them back then. And that's history. He's not a Jew by birth. You know what I mean? He's a Jew by, well, he thinks he's a Jew by just religion, but ethnically, he's not the real Jew. But you are, black man, and you don't know it. So why don't you know it? Because of religion, because of your pastor, because of all the lies in the world, and because of people saying it doesn't matter who you are. God don't see race. God don't see nationality, when God does, man. In the Bible, if it's saying, oh, house of Israel, Israelites are a nation, they're an ethnic group. So God does see race. God does see ethnicity. The problem is your pastor, he's so unlearned in the Bible, he can't see it. And that's all while it is, man. So if you're in the UK and you want to learn who you are, you want to leave all your philosophies, all your religions, there's only one place you got to be, man. And I'll give you the address. It's 394 Lodge Road, the postcode B18 5PW, man, in Birmingham. 394 Lodge Road. This place is where you're going to get fixed. This place is where you're going to be born again, man. You're not going to be lost in no religion. Us as black people, we're not going to be wondering who we are and what should we be doing. We've been doing that for hundreds of years, man. You got Rastafarianism, Egyptology, Pan-Africanism. And the reason why all these religions are here is only because people didn't know what we should be doing. And that's why they made them up. But what should the black men be doing? Worshipping Ethiopia, getting high. And all that comes from someone who didn't know what we should be doing. And that's what religions are, man. Pan-Africanism. That's by black people that don't know what we should be doing. But in the UPK, we know what every black man, every Hispanic man, and every native Indian man should be doing, man. Serving the Lord, man. Serving their God that parted the Red Sea for them. Keeping the commandments. And that's what you should be doing, man. So the topic of today is, in the UK, the black man ain't the face of racism. And I'll explain what that means. For so long, people knew that whenever you spoke about racism, the first thing that came to mind was a black person. Now, in these last days, you ain't even the face of that now. Now it's Indians and Arabs. Meanwhile, Indians and Arabs oppress you. So how are they the face of racism when they oppress you? Surely the people that got no power, no minds, surely they should be the face of racism. Not how can a people that oppress us be the face of racism when they're oppressing us? The face of racism should be black men, man. Why? Because we got no power, we got no minds, we don't have no say. And even in these last days, they even have that, man. Your oppression, even the bit of care that you should get, they've got it. There's a channel for advertisements, and the face of racism ain't even black people no more. It's Indians. And you mean they're getting oppressed and people watch the advert and they feel sorry for them. Meanwhile, that's you, man. Someone's hijacked your care, man. Your sympathy, even the little bit that you should get, that's even gone to someone else. So where do we stand in all of this, man? You suffer racism every day, and now everyone thinks not now because of the adverts. Everyone thinks that's not you. Everyone thinks, well, nah. I watch the adverts. Indians are so oppressed. Everyone thinks they're terrorists. Everyone thinks this. Everyone thinks that. But guess what? That should be you, man. That sympathy they get, that should be you, man. Like, look at those black people, man. Don't own no businesses, no shops to sustain themselves. That's meant to be you. And now that's not you. Now that's the East Indian man who gets all the sympathy. A white man looks at that with guilt, like, you know what? I'm treating them bad, you know. I'm looking at them like they're all those evil people with bombs on them. And what about you? You getting none of that. And that's what happens to us, man. Everything that we get gets taken of us. Give me that in the Bible. I believe it's Deuteronomy 28 about thou shalt be oppressed and spoiled evermore. This is in the Bible, man. You're not even being the face of racism anymore. I mean, all of this is in the Bible, showing you that this Bible is your record. This Bible is your book, man. And a curse in the Bible was that everything we get, it will get robbed from us. We will be spoiled evermore. The word spoil means to rob. Like if you have a war and you take the spoils of that war, meaning you've took someone else's belongings of that war, and that's us, man. Everything that we get, everything that we invent gets robbed from us, man. Black man invents the light, it's robbed from him. Black man invents the doorknob, a door handle, something so, I mean, something that you need in everyday life to open a door, that's robbed of you too, man. Many things that we invent gets robbed from us, and even your sympathy, even the face of racism, that's got robbed of you. Back in the 80s, you was the face of racism. Anytime someone talks about racism, you even go, well, look at black people. They work for free, man. They were called WOGs. And now in these last days, 2019, you ain't even the face of racism no more. Anytime someone thinks of a racist attack, nobody thinks about you, man. Everyone's thinking about East Indians and Arabs and anyone else. Like as if a black man doesn't suffer racism, like a black man doesn't get racially abused. You got that for me? Read that.
Deuteronomy 28:29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in the darkness.
All right, so now in the Bible, that's one curse right there. That us as blacks and Hispanics, we're going to be looking around for the answer. So imagine now, it's not even dark, but you're there searching around. You got your hand on the wall. You're lost. And that's what God's saying about us, man. The real Israelites, the real Jews, they're going to be, you know what I mean, searching for an answer, groping around, trying to find the answer for all the oppression, all the hurts. And that's us, man. When I watch some of those videos, the conscious community, that's people groping around trying to find an answer. They're trying, because I think we can eat air. Pan-Africanism, New Wahabianism, Elijah Muhammad. That's people groping around looking for an answer, man. Whenever they have these dumb debates over should we follow Malachi Z. York, Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam, we are trying to feel around for an answer. The conscious community fulfills this curse right here, man. People just feeling around, trying to find an answer. Read on.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
And that's key. So whatever you find is not going to help you. You ain't going to prosper in your ways, even though you're searching, even though you found Rastafarianism, even though you found Pan-Africanism, Egyptology, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness. The Bible's saying, because you don't serve me, you ain't going to prosper in your ways. It don't work. The conscious community, they don't help nobody, man. I know what they like to say. It's knowledge. We're sharing knowledge here. But look, us collectively as a race of people, are we prospering in our ways? No, we're not, man. Read on.
And thou shalt not And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
And because we don't serve the Lord, we will only be oppressed and spoiled evermore. And this video that you're gonna see, that's us, man. Oppressed and spoiled evermore, man. You ain't even the face of racism anymore. At least we had that. At least whenever people spoke about racism, what was the common analogy that someone would use? Racism is when a white person attacks a black person. Simple. In these last days, you ain't even that now. Now, in these last days, when someone gives an analogy on racism, what analogy are they going to give? Is when white people say Arabs have bombs. You know what I mean? And what about you? Those same Arabs are oppressing you, man. You go into their shops buying food off them. That's oppression. Whenever you give your economy, your resources to another nation of people, that's oppression right there, man. Whenever an Indian man gets your money in his shop, that's oppression. Meaning the economics that we have, I'm giving to someone who's not of my race of people. That's oppression, and that's the Bible. We will only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, man. It's a channel 4 link.
On your page?
On my Facebook, yeah.
Oh, good.
A bit more. Nah, that is, I might not have had it up in there, but you can look in the it's a channel 4 documentary on racism. Yes, if you get that. But yeah, we're gonna get the video for you. But that's the Bible, man. We are oppressed and spoiled evermore. Anything that you have is taken away from you, man. You was the face of racism. You ain't the face of racism anymore, man. From there, give me Isaiah 42 and the 22nd verse. Isaiah 42 and the 22nd verse.
Isaiah 42, 22nd verse. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
And there you go. Even Isaiah, he saw it, how we will be living in the last days. We are a people robbed, man. Anything you invent, robbed off you. You mean there's nothing that a black man in these last days can say, this is mine, this is my own. We are people robbed, man. Even your hairstyles, I was shocked. I can't remember where it was. I saw some Edomite with some like the round part of his head, it was cut, and it had these like cane rolls on top. Like that's a blatant black hairstyle. But now in these last days, what does everyone say? That's youth culture. It's not a black thing. That's what the youth like. I mean, that's what the youth think look good. And it's not a youth culture. That's Israelite culture, man. That's black culture. And we're robbed and spoiled. And even Isaiah had to say it too, man. We are people always robbed. And anything that you have is always handed over to someone else, man. Read on.
They are all of them snared in holes.
And we are snared in holes. What's these holes? Religions, man. We're always in holes, man. You're in the snare of Christianity. You're in the snare of Egyptology. You're in the snare of Seventh-day Adventists. In the snare of Islam. And that's the problem, man. We are people always, you mean, in something that is not helping us get free. Read on.
And they are hid in prison houses.
And we are what?
And they are hid in prison houses.
And we are people always locked up, man. Even in the UK, of course, the white man is locked up more, but we are next. Now, it makes sense that white people would be the most locked up because England is a white man's land. But we are second. Black people fill up every prison, Aylesbury, Windsworth, wherever we are, we fill them up, man. Locked up for knife crime, gun crime, theft, armed crime with guns. And that was in the Bible, that the real Jews, there'll be a people locked up. And let's take it even away from the UK, man. In America, forget about it, man. black people fill the prison houses. You know what I mean? Every prison, whether it's Rikers Island, let's go into South America. We fill up them places, man. Mexico, what's some other ones? It's on my mind. Brazil. There's one near Mexico. Venezuela. No, El Salvador. You know what I mean? And that's us, man. Isaiah, the Lord let him see in the last days. We be a people always locked up, man. Always oppressed. And we see it, man. And that's how you know this Bible is real, man. Because you're telling me all the afflictions of us as a race of people, God don't see. So, you know what I mean? God's all-knowing. But what happens to a people that get oppressed the most, he just don't see it. So, the white man's history is in the Bible, ham everyone, but what about us? So, you're telling me something as big as the transatlantic slave trade ain't in the Bible. Just, you know, God just missed that, you know what I mean? There was so much other things going on in the world. The Lord just didn't want to write that down. The Lord didn't want to let a man of God write that down. It lives in the Bible, and we do matter, man. You know what I mean? Me being younger, I always was taught that, you know what I mean? That the Bible is bigger than us. Like, the problem that we have in Handsworth and Aston, the Bible's bigger than that. Like, you know what I mean? God sees big things. When, come to find out, God cares about you, and your issues in the Bible, they are big things, man. You know what I mean? What the oppression that you're going through right now, it's in the Bible, and God sees it as a big thing. But you're taught, well, you know what I mean? God sees the bigger picture. Yeah, what happened to you was bad, but you know what I mean? God cares about the world, man. You know what I mean? You don't matter. And then when you open up the Bible and read it, it's the other way around. God don't care about these heathens. You matter, and God cares about you, man. Have you got anything online? Any questions?
I got a question on this verse. Sister got a question about. She said, so death in the West Indies. She goes, I have a question to ask relating to death in the West Indies. They tune their bodies, which means the body is not put in the dirt. Like over there, like over here. A lot of people, especially the people in the hills, tend to bury their dead ones on the land, in their houses or in the field, where they plant their food, as the grave is in a brick tomb sealed with cement.
Okay.
Is that unclean? Can this be explained in class? I'll read it again. I have a question relating to the death in the West Indies. They tune their dead, which means the body is not put in the dirt like over here. And a lot of people, especially the people in the hills, tend to bury their dead on their land, near houses, or in fields where they plant their food, as the grave is bricked, tomb sealed with cement. Is that unclean? Yeah. Can this be explained in class, please?
Okay, so the question is, the way how they handle it, is that wrong? That's what I'm trying to say.
Mark 629.
Mark 6:29, yeah, let's get that. So let's find out. Let's get Mark 6:29. Then I'll answer the other part about, is it unclean if you're around it?
Mark 6:29. And when his disciples heard of it.
So now, if you haven't read this before, I just start from Mark 6:1. This is when Christ is dead, and his disciples, you know what I mean, they came to see if he was there in his tomb. So you mean, so to have a tomb, that's not wrong, you know what I mean? Because why? Because even in the Bible, the dead, they was in a tomb as well. So in that aspect, what they're doing in the West Indies, ain't nothing wrong with that. But read on.
And his disciples heard of it and came and took his corpse and laid it in a tomb.
And they did what?
Laid it in a tomb.
And they laid it in a tomb. So what you are talking about in the West Indies, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? There's no law that says, you know what I mean, they have to be in a tomb. but the tradition of the Israelites was to do that. So if someone is in the ground, is that wrong? No, it's not. But us knowing who we are, it's a traditional thing that, you know what I mean, they are in a tomb. So what they're doing in the West Indies, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's in the Bible. It's more better to do it as close as you can according to the Bible. So ain't nothing wrong with that. But the next part, you know what I mean, like that being around you, or where you plant your or where you plant like what you eat, that part is wrong. You mean you're not meant to be around it. You mean, and we're gonna get that in the law. You mean what we're saying here is also in the law that like someone who's dead, their corpse should not be around you, should not be in your backyard. It should not be around you where like you walk. So even for example, if you was to walk in a graveyard, you will be unclean. So even if you walk on like someone's dead, like what's the word? Someone's like someone's what, sorry? Yeah, someone's funeral, or like they're like remains, like, so even though they're underneath the ground, you will still be unclean, and that is in the law. So you know what I mean? So you do have to be mindful of that. So would I let them stay in my backyard where I'm gonna walk around in? No, I wouldn't. Or then basically I'll be unclean every day. Would I do it where I plant my you know what I mean, yam and all that? No, because you know what I mean, then again, you're gonna be working there and you're gonna be unclean. So how they're handling it isn't wrong, but where they're doing it, you know what I mean, you're gonna be unclean every day, which is gonna be an issue. So we're gonna get that. I believe it's in Leviticus, if I'm correct. About regarding the dead. I'll find it for you.
The one that talks about the graveyard, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Leviticus 21:11 is one of them. Neither shall he go into any dead body, nor defile himself.
Okay, so it's letting you know you should not go. So if you read that from the top.
Neither shall he go into any dead body.
Into any dead body. So you mean, so you can't walk over no one's gravestone. You can't have any interaction with them. They're meant to be away. So now if you was to walk even on it, it's gonna explain. Read on.
Nor defile himself for his father or for his mother. Neither shall he go out of the sanctuary.
That one's good, but there's another one about even in a tent, if someone dies, or you know what I mean, if you are exposed or you are around them, you are unclean.
Numbers 19:11.
That might be, yeah.
Numbers 19:11. He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days.
This now, if someone died and you know what I mean, you had to handle him, you would be on clean for a week. So you mean, so in regards to that, so but I'm sure there's some more in it.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purify not on the 3rd day, the 7th day he shall be not clean.
All right.
Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purify not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord.
There, so you mean if you touch anyone remains, you was on clean for a week. That one's good, but there's one that lets you know that even when they're dead, you can't, like, you know what I mean, touch their gravestone, or you know what I mean, anything that was used for them being dead. It's around here, Numbers 19.
Verse 16.
All right, that's it.
And whatsoever toucheth one that is slain with a sword in the field, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave.
What did the Bible say?
Or a grave.
Or a grave. So anything that was of someone that is dead, you are unclean. So there's sword, a grave. Do you mean even if you walk upon it, you're making contact with it, and you'll be unclean for a week?
So if you had a dead mouse in your house, when you touched it, would it make you unclean?
That's right, yeah. Any dead corpse, you are unclean. So make sure you wrap your hands up. You know what I mean? Hands it like that. But you can't walk on no tombstone or no grave.
So this is talking about things that are already dead. So in regards to chicken and stuff, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, you're eating it, but this is talking about human beings, dead bodies. And I believe as you read them down, it does talk about like certain animals as well. But yeah, so you mean in regards of having like a tomb in your backyard, you interact with that, you're gonna be unclean, man. You're walking on it or the grave, you are gonna be unclean. So if that answers it for you, just give me a con, or if you need it explained a little bit more, you know what I mean, do elaborate on that as well. Have I got anything else?
The next one on Facebook. It's kind of a breakdown of Isaiah 51, 2-3.
I got it.
Isaiah 51. It's like 23, sorry. Isaiah 51, 23.
The last verse. Isaiah 51, 23. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflicted thee.
Okay, so now to understand this verse, you gotta go up above more. You mean because when it says he will put it into the hand of those that afflict thee, what is he going to put in the hand of those that afflicted us? Let's start from 1 second. All right, let's start from verse 16.
Verse 16. And I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand.
So now, what Isaiah saw was that in the last days, the Most High, he was going to wake us up. So he put his words in our mouth. That's why you have the I.S.U.P.K. We have the Lord's words in our mouth to do what? Wake up the nation of Israel. Read on.
That I may plant the heavens and lay the foundation of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people.
And that's why the Lord does it, so that we can wake up Israel to say unto every black man and every Hispanic man, you are the people of God, man. You know what I mean? To some people, they may not care, but it is a big thing that what you're going through right now, the Lord sees it, man. And the Lord wants to plant you, man. The Lord wants to make you righteous and you be his sons and his daughters. Read on.
Verse 17. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. All
right, so now as you go down to the 23rd verse, this is what the Lord's going to put in their hand. So meaning us as a race of people, we've had the wrath of the Lord, man. We've, you know what I mean, had it for hundreds of years. You know what I mean, had the whole cup, man, the top to the bottom. And the Lord said that we've been having that. Why? Because we've been sinning. Read on.
Verse 23. But I will put it into the hand.
I'm sorry, brother. Start from where you left off. I was just giving the 23rd verse as an example.
And go verse 18.
Verse
18. There is none to guide her among all the sons.
So now, even though we're waking up, there's a reason why the Lord had to wake us up, because there's none to guide us, man. Your pastor, he can't guide you. Your imam, he can't guide you. No African teacher, Egyptologist, Nubianism, he can't guide us neither. So the Lord said that I had to put my words in their mouth so that they can gut, so that you can be led by us. Read on.
Neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought up.
And there are none takes us by the hand. Not one of us go, you know what? I'm gonna help, man. Our nation of people, we're dying, we're suffering. You know what? If anything, I'm gonna take this by the hand and I'm gonna handle it. We're a nation of people that just don't care, man. Everyone says, well, I just care about my family. I just care about my family, man. You know what I mean? I can't help everyone. None takes the nation of Israel by the hand but the UPK. Only the UPK take the nation of Israel by the hand. But read on.
Verse 19. These two things are come into thee. Who shall be sorry for thee?
And that's another thing. Who cares about us, man? Who's sorry for you? Nobody. What does everyone say? Slavery's in the past. Get over it. You know what I mean? We never got the video, but if you was to even watch the video that you would have seen, you ain't even the face of racism anymore. No one cares about you, man. But read on.
Desolation and destruction and the famine and the sword, by whom shall I comfort thee?
And the Lord's asking the question, by whom shall I comfort thee? And we all know who that is. It's the UPK, man. We comfort every black man, every Hispanic man with the knowledge of the Lord. Why? Because nobody ain't leading you. Nobody ain't taking you by the hand. So the Lord set up the UPK. Read on.
Verse 20. Thy sons are fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets.
So because no one don't lead us by the hand, all of our sons, they lie at the head of the streets, meaning gangs. You mean, I don't care wherever you go to London, you're going to see lots of Israelites doing what? Just hanging around on the streets. You go to the Midlands, Liverpool, Manchester, lots of Israelite kids doing what? Nothing, just hanging around. And the Bible said, because no one will lead us by the hand, what happens? The youth is lost. And what are they going to do? Just hang on the street, sell drugs, fight. But read on.
As a wild bull in a net, they are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God.
So because the Lord is against us, they're like a bull in a net, man. They're wild. Why? Because every kid always wonders, why me? Why am I raised like this? Why ain't my dad here? Well, I mean, why am I living in Handsworth, poor man? And that's why they're like a bull in the net. You know what I mean? A lot of kids are full of rage and anger. You even just like sit down with one of them. What do they always say? I'm angry. Like, why? Well, why me, man? You know what I mean? My mom hates me. My dad ain't there. You know what I mean? They're like a bull in the net. Why? Because because the Lord is against them. They're full of the fury of the Lord. But thing is, they don't understand is that the reason why they're like that is because they're sinning. They're angry, but they got no answer. They're angry and they don't know why. But read on.
Verse 21. Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine.
So now the Lord's saying, hear this though. Even though you know what I mean, your sons are fainted, no one leads you by the hand, and you know what I mean, you've had my wrath. Hear this. Read on.
22. Thus saith the Lord thy God, and thy God that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling.
So now this sets the scene for the 23rd verse. So now the cup that we've had, the cup that has the wrath of the Lord, everything that the Lord has like basically bestowed upon us, the Lord's going to take that out of our hand, meaning we're not going to have that cup of, you know what I mean, the poverty, oppression, black and black crime. The Lord's going to take that out of our hand, which is what you're seeing in these last days. Read on.
Even the dregs of the cup of my fury, thou shalt no more drink it again.
And we're not going to have no more of it again. No more pressure in the kingdom. No more wrath of the Lord, man. But we're going to find out who's going to get that cup. Read on.
Verse 23. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflicted thee.
And that's what you see. The people that afflicted us, they're starting to get that wrath. You know what I mean? Look around now, man. All these nations, what do you see? Many things that we talked about for years, and everyone thought we were just whinging, moaning. They're going through that right now, man. At one point in time, we only suffered racism. Now Indians do, and what are all of them saying? The white man's racist, man. England's a racist country. When black people have been saying that since the 50s, man. You know what I mean? Now that same cop is getting bestowed on every nation, but now they're getting poor, the economy is going down. All what we've had, they're starting to get it. All the wrath that we got of the Lord, they're starting to get that same wrath too. The Lord's starting to put that cup now into their hand. Read on.
Which have said to thy soul.
So now these same people that afflicted us, they said unto our soul, now your soul ain't no mist. Your soul is you. So they said to your soul, read.
Bow down, that we may go over.
And those that afflicted us said, bow down, that we may go over. Meaning what? You're nothing, man. Let us oppress you. Let us abuse you, man. You're nobody. You know what I mean? I don't know if you realize it, but the life of blacks and Hispanics ain't seen as life, man. They don't value you, like you ain't nothing. And that's what they say. And how do we know? Because it's in the Bible. They said to you, bow down, like just get down, man. You're nothing. And you want to know how they don't see you as anything. They talk about racism and don't even mention you in it, man. They, you know what I mean? They talk about so much that happens in the world. And what happens to you, that's just not important. You mean everyone talks about oppression, but your one, who cares about that? That's in the past. Now that's evil what happened there. Meanwhile, what they say is evil happens to black people all the time, man. If a policeman was to slam a white man on the ground, that's bad. That's not his job. His job is to protect and serve. Meanwhile, no white man argues when a policeman does that same thing unto you, though. They say to your soul, bow down. You ain't nothing, man. Let me just walk all over you. Read on.
And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over. And
then to make it worse, we accepted it, man. They said bow down, and we laid down. And that's what we do, man. When you see a black man in the church, he's laying himself down for the white man to walk all over him. When you see a black man in the mosque, he's laid down for the Arabs to walk all over him, man. And that's what the Bible's saying. These nations hate us, and we just take it, man. But the Lord's going to take that cup out of our hand, and he's going to put that same cup on them. What's the cup? The wrath of the Lord, man. The Lord being against them. The Lord has made them rich to oppress us. But as you see in these last days, that cup is now coming out of our hand, and now they're getting it. Now they're starting to feel how we feel now, man. You mean Indians talk about, I feel oppressed, like the policeman was harassing me. I felt so victimized. But that's black life every day. And guess what? They don't acknowledge you because they tell you bow down. They look at you and think you are nothing. You don't matter. Meanwhile, they matter. Police are harassing me, but they've been harassing us since the 60s, man. Calling you wag. You know what I mean? Doing whatever they wanted to do, and nothing even came out of it, man. I know lots of people, police have thrown them on the ground, and nothing comes out of it. What they do, they write to, what's it called, the IPCC. They write to them and they go, yeah, we'll investigate it. Years go on. Oh, yeah, that, yeah, ain't nothing. You know what I mean? We don't really know the ins and outs. Meanwhile, now when it's them, it's such a big thing. That was racist. I can't believe that. And all that happens because the Lord is now putting the cup in their hand. They're now starting to feel how it's like to be you, man. They're now starting to feel how it's like to be an Israelite. And these nations can't take it, man. What you went through, they know how it feels now, and they can't even take it, man. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? I had a verse in mind. But yeah, if that answers Isaiah 51 and 23, just write in if you understand. If you don't, we can elaborate on that much more. Have I got anything else online?
One heathen not sure what he said. When you said Islam is black or snare holes, you said Islam is one of snares. To define Islam being a snare, I'm unclear about what that's. I'm not sure.
No sweat. Well, okay, I'll define that any religion is a snare unto us. It's a trap. The reason why is because that religion doesn't tell us who we are. You know what I mean? Everyone knows race means something. Religion and race ain't the same thing. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, the people that make like, for instance, any religion that you're in, that glorifies that race of people. So, for instance, if you read the Quran, what's it talking about? Arabs, Mecca. So for you as a black man, what does that mean for you? That's a snare. So you're reading something and you're not in there. That don't make no sense. If you're in the white church worshiping white Jesus, you as a black man, what is that doing for you? Nothing. You are in a snare unto another nation. Your mind is like, they're God, they're great. And what does that do for you, man? Where's the black man's God? In the Quran, that's the Arab's God. Muhammad, what nationality is he? Arab. The Quran talks about Mecca, Medina, and about helping Arabs. So for you as a black man, what benefit do you get from that? And even history, Arabs, you know what I mean? They had a big part in the transatlantic slave trade. It's a fact. I mean, the same ships that had us to go to the West Indies, who actually made them ships? Arabs. That's a fact. Arabs made them ships. And guess what? They followed Islam. They done Hajj. They went to Mecca. So what does that mean for you? Nothing. The Quran is a trap, just like any religion. So if you want me to define it, that's what I mean, man. You know what I mean? So for us to read that, that's just oppression all over again. You're giving your love, you're giving your care unto someone else, and you should not do that, man. Your love and your care only go to your race of people. You can't be trying to love Arabs and then help your race of people too. It just cannot work. Give me Baruch 4 and 3. Baruch 4.
3.
That's right, yeah.
Baruch 4 and 3. Give not thy honor to another.
And that's key. Your honor, don't hand it over to someone else, man. You give your honor unto someone else. You know what I mean? So what about your people? You're giving your honor to Arabs, man. When you're reading and Quran talk about Mecca and Medina, you're giving your honor unto another, man. Your respect, you're getting to Arabs like, yeah, you're holy. You're the people of God. You mean, and I need to follow you. If you're in the church, you're giving your honor unto Europeans, man. Talking about God's with them, they're great. And the Bible says, give not thine honor unto another. Your respect shouldn't go to any other nation. You're meant to look at that black man with respect, like, you know what? You're the people of God. I care about you, man. But here's the problem. If you're reading that Arab book, your honor is going to go unto Arabs. You're going to look up to East Indians and sheikhs and Arab imams and think they're something great, but they're nothing, man. The Bible says you are above all people upon the face of the earth. So you give me your honor unto another. How does that help your people? You reading the Quran, you know what I mean? Then your honor is going unto someone else, man. Read on.
Nor the things that are profitable unto a strange nation.
So what does that part mean? The things that are profitable unto thee, unto a strange Asian.
Your worship, everything you stand for, all your love.
There you have it. So you mean all that you have, don't give it unto someone that ain't in your race of people. And God saying that, how do we know? Because we just read it. You know what I mean? What helps you? You shouldn't let no one else have it, man. The love that we have for Arabs and everybody else. Imagine if black people had that for themselves, man. We would have black businesses, black shops everywhere, black jobs. But here's the problem. When you give that unto another, we have nothing. We love all these other nations. Why? Because we have their religions, man. We love them so much. Why? Because we serve their gods. And if you serve their gods, by default, you're going to hate your race of people. You can't follow their religion and then say, yeah, but I care about black people, though. I'm blackity black. No, you're not. If you're reading about anyone else's history and worshiping them, you can't love your people, man. You're going to love your people when you know who they are, when you follow your heritage, when you keep your way of life. And that's how you truly love your race of people. Read on. That's it on that. All right, no sweat. Give me Baruch 3 and the 31st verse. So, this kind of goes into Isaiah 51 and the 23rd verse that, we read about. The Lord's he's going to now have that in their hand. That same cup of wrath that we had, our enemies are going to have that same cup. In Baruch 4 and the 33rd verse.
Baruch 4 and 33. He that sendeth forth light, and it goeth, calleth it again.
Is that it? Baruch 4 and the 31st verse.
Baruch 4 and 34. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning.
And again, that goes into Isaiah 51 and the 23rd verse, meaning these nations that say to you, bow down, the Lord's taking away all of their joy. At one point, every nation was in England happy, open up tons of corner shops, living good. And you see now it's not going well now. East Indians, what does everyone think about them? They're bombers, they're terrorists. And now they're feeling an inkling of what we feel, man. The Lord's taking away all that happiness, man. All that happiness that all these nations had while they was oppressing us. They're starting to feel it. And the Lord's taking away all their joy, all the Somalians' joys, all the East Indians' joys, all the Bangladeshis' joys. The Lord's taking away all their joy. And I don't know how it feels like to be like an Israelite, man. To know how it feels like to be like a black man living in England. As a matter of fact, you start from verse 31.
Verse 31. Miserable are they that afflict thee.
And there you go. Those that afflicted us, now they're sad, man. They're in England. England's racist. They're calling me a terrorist. The policeman was following me in his car. Well, that's black life. Like that's been happening. And guess what? Now they feel it. And what happened? They are miserable. They're in England like, I can't stand this country. They're so racist. But they're so racist. You know what I mean? What's the word for white people in Urdu? Yeah. Akala's black. What's the other one for white people? Agoras. Like, them Goras are racist. But guess what? That's black life, man. You know what I mean? We know white people have been racist, but now you're feeling it. And in England, you're miserable. You know what I mean? And you can see it all over them, man. At one point, they was happy while they oppressed us. Now they're in England, just miserable. You know what I mean? Wanting to go back home to Bangladesh and wherever they're from. But read on.
So miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall.
And rejoice at thy fall. And that's key. All these nations, whenever we fall, they rejoice, man. Whenever they watch the news and see a black man dead, they rejoice, man. Do you want to know why they rejoice? Because what's in their mind, but those black people think they're tough. They had it coming to them, and they rejoice whenever we fall, man. And that's the Bible. And that's how you know who the real Israelites are. You're a nation of people that everyone hates. And once you fall, everyone rejoices, man. Everyone's happy. You watch the news. Oh, this black man's dead. Well, you know, he thought it was tough anyway. Come on, let's be honest. You doing that is walking around thinking it's hard, and they rejoice to go, you see, you think it's tough, but look, you're arrested now. The police, you know what I mean, executed him, and they rejoice at our fall. Read on.
God, miserable are the cities which thy children serve. Miserable is she that received thy sons.
And England is miserable. They received us, man, and oppressed us. And now England's miserable. The Brexit, they can't even make up their mind, man. First, I mean, let's vote in. Another vote, delays. And England's miserable. White people know what's going to happen. England's going to be bankrupt, man. No deals, no nothing. And it's miserable. And you want to know why? Because the Lord wants it that way, man. For why? Because for what they done to us. England is rich. Why? Because of you. In the West Indies, your ancestors picked cane from sun up to sundown, man. No days off. Imagine that. In England right now, you can work till you're 63. Or is it risen up 63 or
75?
75. They raised it about 5 years ago. It was 63. So you know what I mean, it's getting kind of bad. But you know what I mean, imagine that. You know what I mean, in your mind, you know, I can work for so long that one day I don't have to work. As a slave, that was not an option at all. You worked to the day that you died, and you want to know facts. Whenever a slave was old, they just wiped him out, made the dogs devour him, lynched him, took his life. So meaning, if you can't work for me, then you're no good. Your life ain't really no worth to me, and you would die. And you're telling me England is gonna remain happy? The Lord sees that, man. And the Lord visits England, and that's what you see now. England is miserable. You know what I mean? No one knows what's going to happen. The Brexit deal, no deals. You know what I mean? They were saying that even for someone in the UK to go to France, they now have to do like a form and all that. You know what I mean? You're going to do what you would have to do to go to America. In France, you know what I mean? In like Amsterdam and everywhere else. And the Lord rejoices at that, man. Why? Because even though everyone forgets, the Lord don't forget, man. The white man says, that's in the past. You ain't, you know what I mean? You're not going through the same things as them. But the Lord requires the past. And that's in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 3 and the 15th verse. The Lord requires the past, man. While everyone tells you, you know, that's in the past, forget about it. The Lord remembers the past. Let me get there with you. Ecclesiastes. Yeah, 3 and I believe it's 15.
That which has been is known.
Yeah, that's it.
Ecclesiastes 3:15. That which has been is now. And that which is to be has already been.
Read on.
And God requires that which is past.
And God requires that which is past. Meaning God pays someone back for that which is past. So how dare someone say, well, slavery was in the past. You ain't getting whipped now. So what's the problem? You know what I mean? That was in the past, but here's the problem. If that's in the past, those riches ain't in the past. England is rich from what your ancestors did in Jamaica, Montserrat. So that's not in the past. You ain't handing back any of those riches yet. Talking about that's the past. If that's the past, then you know what I mean? Them riches, that's in the past. Let the people that work for it have it since it's in the past. But guess what? You know better. You know that is the foundation of England. That is the source of England, man. All the banks, Barclays, Lloyds, those banks, do you know why they are around? Because they used to work people in the West Indies, man. And then that's how those banks came to be what they are right now. So it's not in the past. You got money that you ain't even spent yet. Why? Because you're that rich from the past. It's a fact. There's a name for it. It's the money like some money's old and like they have a term for it where there's money that they haven't even spent that yet because they're that rich from the money that's in the past. So the money that they're spending now, they've had that over like 400 years ago, and they're that rich from it that any money that they make now, they haven't even spent that yet.
You know what hurts the most? Like, you got immigrants that come to the country and have a good life, like, you know, free NHS, you know, free housing and stuff. And you're paying for that? Like, they get good treatment in England and they got nothing to do black people. I mean, sense, like, a Romanian don't know nothing about black place in his life, no black Romanian. But yeah, our slave even funds him when he comes here. When he gets his rent paid for, black people pick cotton and got kids, he can live free.
There you go.
Like, even country had nothing to do with England and its slavery, he still benefit off us, man.
And what's heavy about that too is whenever it comes onto us, you just moan, you're whinging. Well, look at them, they're whinging. Somalians are whinging, man. Why do they want on the NHS a female to get circumcised? You mean you just got here and guess what? Guess what? Even though they're here, their voice is heard. Meanwhile, you're just complaining. Black people, all you do is complain and moan. And they've come here and all they're doing is whinging, man. They come here and get a new house. All those new dates that get made. Who's in them houses? Somalians, Romanians. And you complain about your house, how there's rats. You're complaining. You know what I mean? The housing's doing their best. Meanwhile, people that come from people that come from a land where they hardly even have a house get the best houses. All those new apartments that they make, they come here, get that house, and on top of that, they get the rent paid for, and then they get then they get an allowance to even buy food, get a car, and you're complaining. That shows that the white man don't respect you at all, man. Meanwhile, your history helps him. Your history made England rich. Meanwhile, people that got nothing to even do with England, they get all the benefits, man. And again, that's off our backs. But read that again in Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. Questions about
3 and 15. That which hath been is now.
And that's key. That which have been is now, meaning what happened is happening now. Just that because it doesn't happen in the exact same way, people think, well, that's in the past. Us being oppressed, that happened, man, and it's happening right now. Whenever you walk in the shop and they're harassing you, you know what I mean? Everywhere you go, the man of the shop seems just to be there. You go into the aisle on the right, you see someone pretending like they're doing some work in that same part where you are, just, you know, looking at some clothes. Nah, he's following you, man. You go upstairs. He's upstairs, pretend like he's doing his job. He's following you, man. Just happens in another way. That which has been is even happening right now. Read on.
And that which is to be hath already been.
And that which to be has already been, meaning things that we think is new, it's already been, man. Like, for example, you know what I mean? At one point in time, racism was synonymous with us. Now it's not. And it's always been like that, man. Anything that is synonymous with us, someone always hijacks it, man. Robs it of us. And that's history. Read on.
And God requires that which is past.
And God requires that which is in the past. So God's going to pay back every nation for what they've done for us. They may forget and say, you know, that's the past. You know what I mean, that was not me. But God, He requires it, man. Someone has to pay for it. Got some.
Slightly off topic, but okay. So when you demand a book from the devil that can, if you're or whatever nation, what is that mean? Are they just doing it to say sorry, or they're doing it? Like, do you understand what I'm asking? Like,
Oh, you're asking like, what reward did they get for that?
do they even get one? Is there anything, or is it just their way of saying that's what the Bible says?
That's right, yeah. So now in the Bible it says that that's what they should do, and that's what they do.
So
but though,
so how do you convince them? Like, even if a dog not a devil, I wouldn't walk into the group of men and girls and that it's not who. So what do you have to say to them for them to believe in you?
what do you have to say? Well, it's not as it's not something that's really hard. All you gotta do is just sedate the facts. Your people oppressed my people, took everything. You know You mean you invented jazz? They took that. Believe it or not, black people invented rock and roll. If you're aware of that, even took that, man. All what they've ever done is rob us. And if someone really cared, that would convict them alone, man. Even till this day, and eventually it just convicts one of them. Like, you know what? Now you know my people have been evil to them. And then when you ask for it and you show that it's in the book, they will do it. But of course, a white man who's just evil and all about himself, of course, like I'm not kissing no one's boots. But guess what? They should do it, man. They should do it for what they've done to us for hundreds of years. They're walking in England, living carefree. Why? Because we did that. We helped so that a white man can walk around every weekend, get drunk and wet the bed. You know what I mean? We did that. We worked hard so that he can do next to nothing. You know, for us, we have to have a job. We have to do specific things. For a white person, he don't. A white man can be a bum and have a nice life. You don't have that choice. And he got that. Why? Because your ancestors in the West Indies worked for that. So he should do it. And if you convict him and go, yes, then he will do it, man. To answer it for you. I got a question line.
Psalms 139 and 16. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being imperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them.
Okay, so what the one a breakdown on that pretty much. Well, okay, if anything, just start one verse above. What's that? Psalms 139 and 16. Let me get there.
14. Verse 15. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did see my countenance, yet being imperfect, and in thy book of my members were written, which in countenance were fashioned. Okay, for this, start from verse 1. We're not going to read it all down, but just to let you know what King David is on about. Thou hast searched me and known me.
So now the point he's making is the Most High always known him, meaning, you know what I mean, even before he was born, the Most High always knew what he would do and what he would be. So that's the whole, you know what I mean, that's the point of this Psalms, that the Most High, he knows a man even before you're born. And in the Bible, there's many examples of that. But you know what I mean, the Lord says that before you was even in your mom's I ordained thee to do this and to do that. So the Lord, he already knows the objectives of a man even before they are born. Read on.
Thou knowest my down sitting and mine uprising.
So the Lord knows what can take a man down and what can rise him up. So the point of this Psalms is that the Lord knows you, man, inside out. If the Lord wants to make you sad, he knows what to do to make you sad, man. The Lord wants to make you happy. He knows what to do to make you happy. Meaning the Lord knows you better than you know yourself. Read on.
God, thou understandest my thought afar off.
And there you go. He understands his thoughts afar off, meaning he knows what you're even going to think, even before it comes in your mind. The Lord knows you. He knows what you're going to think. He knows what you're going to do. He knows you, man. And that's what this psalm was all about. Like, I mean, he's like, to be honest, there's nothing I can do. The Lord knows me inside out, man. So he's saying it's better that I serve the Most High because he already knows me inside out. Read on.
God, thou compassest my path and my lying down.
So the Most High, he's around him when he's walking, lying down. Meaning the Most High, he's watching you. He knows you, man. You know what I mean? Even when you think, well, the Lord, he may not know what I'm gonna do next. The Lord does, man. He knew it before even it came in your mind. Read on.
And are acquainted in all my ways.
And there you go. Acquainted with all my ways, meaning the Lord, he knows all your ways. He knows what you're going to do when you're sad, when you're happy. So now you mean, so now, if you know that the Lord knows it inside out, what is the best thing for you to do? obey him. You know what I mean? You can't escape him, man. He knows you, man. You know what I mean? So the point he's making is, you know what I mean, why even fight? Why try to strive with the Lord when he knows me, man? He's acquainted with all of my ways. Anything I do, the Lord knows what I'm going to do. Read on.
Come. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether.
And the Lord knows what he's going to say. Meaning, in certain, like, if something was to happen, the Lord knows what exactly he's even going to say. Let's get to the verse that they wanted.
Verse 16. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being imperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned.
All right, so now he's saying, even from I was here, you know what I mean? You knew that I wasn't right, and that's all of us. We wasn't raised in the UPK, and you know what I mean? He's saying it right here. From young, I was a sinner. From young, I was doing things that was wrong, but still, you knew me. You knew what I can be, and that's like all of us. You know what I mean? We was in the world, getting high, doing everything, and the Lord knew what we can be. And that's why in the UPK, any name that you get, that's what you can be, man. You don't just get that name because it sounds nice, it sounds strong. You get it because there's something in you and you can be that, man. You can be a, you know what I mean, Dumgabar, Karafia, Magawa, anybody, man. And those names have a meaning and you can be that. And that's what the Lord saw, man. He knew his reigns, knew what he would do. And the Lord knew that he wasn't right. The Lord knew that even though he had all these things, he wasn't right. But the Lord understood that, you know what? I know what he can be if he just obeys. Read on.
When as yet there was none of them.
So when there was none of them, meaning before he was even born, you mean even when he was just in the egg, meaning before he had no limbs, no head, he was just in what do you call it, his mom's eggs, ovaries. I'm sounding so amateur. His mom's ovaries. You know what I mean? So even before he had any limbs, the Lord knew him, man. The Lord knew what he would think, what he would say. And even then, the Lord knew that he would not be right until the Lord made him right. Read on.
Verse 17. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God.
And there you go. That's how the Lord knew what he could be. So even though the Lord knew he wasn't right, he thought on him like, you know what? If he obeys, if I, you know what I mean, make him to follow these commandments, this man can be upright. This man can be a man that serves me. And that's what the Lord does, man. He sees all of us in the world doing wrong, and his thoughts are upon you like, you know what? If he serves me, I know what he can be, man. Read on.
If I count them, they are more in number than the sand.
Mm-hmm.
When I awake, I am still with thee. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O Yahweh. Depart from me, then, therefore, ye bloody men.
No sweat. That part's going into something else, but that makes a point if everyone understands. That's, you know what I mean? That's what Psalms 139 is about. Have we got anything else? All right, no sweat. Let's get Isaiah 42 and the 22nd verse. Yeah, and the 22nd verse.
22nd.
Isaiah 42, the 22nd. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes.
Yeah, read on.
And they are hid in prison houses.
Yep.
They are for prey.
And now that part there is a key. We're the people that everyone looks at like, you know what? I'm gonna get rich off them. I'm gonna open up a shop and sell them weaves and, you know what I mean, anything that they like. I'm gonna make sure they have it, man, in the abundance. We are the parade of the earth, man. Wherever you go, there's every nation trying to get rich off you, man. Whether it's designing, whether it's shops, whether it's anything you like, there's another race of people that are always getting rich off what you like, man. We are the prey of the face of the earth. Read on.
And none delivering.
And guess what? No one cares. No one goes, you know what? That's wrong, man. You got black people buying from Indians. Where's their shops, man? You mean, let's help them out. Everyone don't care about you, but they're more concerned about getting rich off you. You're that nation of people that no one desires at all, man. No one goes to see how you're doing. No one goes, you know what? That's wrong, you know. I'm opening up the shop and they're making me rich. It's only right that every nation has their own economics. It's only right that every nation supports their own. And there you are with this big shop selling me ackee and plantain and all that stuff. You are oppressing me and you don't even care about that. You're that self-absorbent that you don't realize what you're doing. You don't realize that you're taking from one race of people and you're helping out your own, man. But read on.
For spoil, and none say restore.
And none say restore. No nation goes, you know what? Restore them, man. Who are these people? You know what I mean? Why is it that they're everywhere, man? Why is that the black man's in the church? The black man's in the mosque? No one says restore. No one looks at you and goes, you know what? I'm wrong for what I'm doing. I'm taking their business. I'm taking their shops, man. I mean, I'm taking every last thing that they have. No one says restore. Every nation's more occupied in how much they can get out of you, man. But no one says, you know what? Restore them. You know what, man? I'm going to say to them, you know what? Just buy from a black shop. You know what? Don't even come in there with this shop ever again, man. There's a black shop there. Help them out, man. Your people need businesses. Your people need shops. But they don't say restore. Read on.
Verse 23. Who among you will give ear?
And that's key. Who among you will give ear? It's making you understand that this is talking about the last days. And who of you will even understand this? To give them an ear means understand it. Who among you is going to even understand this? Read on.
Who will hearken and hear for the time to come?
And that's key. That's how you know that this is a event that never happened in the time of Isaiah. He said, who will hear in the time to come? Meaning, even though Isaiah wrote it down, it wasn't talking about while Isaiah was alive. It's talking about now. Meaning, who's going to understand this? And we do. Why? Because we live it, man. We understand it because we live it, man. Anytime you're going to go to an Indian man shop, you know what I mean? I'm reading that and going, you know what? That's us right there. Well, in the time of Isaiah, yes, we were sinners, but we knew that, you know what I mean? We had to have things for us. We had that education. Now we don't, man. Because of religion and loving everybody, you don't help out your own. You're taught, you know what I mean? Well, to love everyone, I got to go to Indian shops. I got to go to every other ethnic shop except my own. Why? Because you're taught to love everyone. Meanwhile, they're not taught to love everyone. They're taught, listen, son, you are whatever race and you help these people. You support them. You help them. That's the talk that every family has except black families. You know what I mean? We're taught love everyone. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, nah, son, you help Indians, man. You help Bangladeshis. You help Chinese, Vietnamese. But you're taught, you know, just love everyone. God don't see color. And that's why you go in everyone's shops. Meanwhile, they know, nah. If I buy in his shop, then I'm taking my money and giving it to him to help his cause. But I've got a cause. I'm a race of people. You know what I mean? We got things that we need to do, and they understand that. That's what
you're right. Like, Indian man will never go to a black man shop. Like only the young ones might do. They might go to a barber because the hairstyle campus, but they won't. But they like an old Indian woman is not gonna go to a black man shop to support him. You know what I mean? Or an old black woman goes to Indian man shop to support them. We talk to everybody. That's the opposite.
That's right. If you could, there's a video about a black woman. She opened up a black hair shop, and the East Indians, they basically like are threatening her. Like, listen, man, but we want your gun and saying that you're going to be gone in a few weeks and that. If you paraphrase it, it was a video that I seen. But yeah, you know what I mean? Them things happen where why would you do that? If you're selling black hair, then if the person who's selling is black, why would you be upset? You'd be like, well, you know, it makes sense. You know what I mean? That's a black shop for the people of that race, then what's the problem? But they look at you and think that you ain't anything so much that, no, man, like, you got to buy from me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Why don't you want to buy from my shop? And all that happens, why? Because they think you're nothing, man. Like, you must buy in my shop. When it's natural to buy from your own race of people, it's normal. Only thing is we don't know it because we're taught love everyone. And that's what happens. But read on.
Verse 24. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers?
So now Isaiah's asking, so in this event here in the last days, Isaiah had to say, well, who did this, man? Isaiah, he's seen Israel oppressed. No one, you know what I mean? Basically, there isn't anyone that goes, you know what, I'm going to help them people. Isaiah saw all this and saying, but though, who did this? Read on.
Did not the Lord?
Who?
Did not the Lord?
And the Lord did it, man. You know what I mean? It's one thing to complain and say this ain't right. But do you know who did this? The Lord did it. And Isaiah's going to explain why the Lord done this. Read on.
He against whom ye have sinned.
And he against whom we have sinned. The Lord did this because we sinned against him. The Lord did this because we want to eat ham. The Lord did this because, you know what I mean, we want to be in the church. The Lord did this because we want to join the mosque. And that's why this happened. What you're seeing happen to us right now, because we don't follow the Lord. It's really simple. You know what I mean? Many people tried to make it hard, man. You know what I mean? We need to search and find ourselves. Black problems. Why this happening? Black man needs to search. And you know what I mean? They make it seem so hard when it's not hard. It's really simple. The God that we have, we don't follow him. And if we did, we would not be in the situation that we're in right now. That's really easy. No, you know, but we're the people of the earth, and the black man connects with the stars. And you know what I mean? I would say he needs to find himself and his inner chi and his elements and rubbish like that. That's not the answer. You know what I mean? The answer is we don't serve the Lord. Simple as. Read on.
For they would not walk in his ways.
And that's why we are oppressed in the condition that we are in right now, because we wouldn't walk in his ways. The Lord has ways. The Lord has rules and regulations, and we don't walk in them. The Lord says you can't eat the swine. We don't walk in his ways. The Lord said that thou shalt not serve any other God. We don't walk in his ways. We're in the church. We're in the mosque serving other gods. And that's the problem. We don't walk in his ways. Read on.
Neither were they obedient unto his law.
And obedience, forget about it, man. We wasn't obeying the Lord at all, man. We was more concerned about ourselves, you know what I mean, doing what we wanted. And that's why we're in this predicament we are in the last days. But guess what? It doesn't have to remain that way. Even though we're suffering, there's something you can do about it. You know what I mean? It's one thing to, you know, we're cursed, we're oppressed, but there's something you can do. And that same God that is oppressing you, if you do his commandments, he can also get you out of it. And that's something that you can do, man. Give me Deuteronomy 4. 1 second. Get there. Deuteronomy 4, I believe it's 16.
Yes, you go over verse 7.
That's not it now. 1 second. Yeah, the 29th verse.
4:29.
Can't.
Deuteronomy 4, verse 29. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God.
So now the Lord's saying, if you seek me even though you're cursed, even though you're afflicted, if you seek the Lord thy God, read,
thou shalt find him.
and we shall find him. And that's a blessing right there, man. After all of what we done, you can find God. You know what I mean? If you're an Israelite, you can find the Lord, man. No matter where you are, man. You're in England, you're in the West Indies, you know what I mean? Wherever you are, man, Amsterdam, you can find the Lord. Why? Because you're an Israelite and God loves the house of Israel, man. Even though he's afflicted you, got you living in hell, if you seek him, you can find him. Now, every nation can't say that. I know there's, you know what I mean? I know there's Indians that read the Bible thinking they've found God. You ain't found God, man. You think you have, but you ain't found him. But if you're an Israelite and you want to seek the Lord, you will find him, man. And to seek the Lord ain't, you know, obviously just to seek for him. It means you read the Bible, you do what these commandments say. That's you seeking the Lord. And if you seek him, you will find him. Why? Because you're an Israelite, man. You're from the house of Israel. And in the Bible, it says, you only have I known. And that's why you will find the Lord. Read on.
If thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul, whence thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee.
So now listen to what the Lord's saying. When all these things are come upon thee, meaning you're oppressed, everything in the Bible that says would happen unto you, all of it comes upon you. Read on.
Even in the later days.
Even when?
Even in the later days.
And that's how you know it's talking about right now. Because I know online there's someone thinking, you know, he's manipulating that. It was talking about then. It says, even in the latter days. What's another word for the latter days? Last days. And so even in the last days, you mean you call upon the Lord and you're an Israelite, you will find him, man. And guess what? You find him in the I.S.U.P.K. You ain't gonna just find the Lord and it's just you and the Lord. It don't work like that. You want to seek the Lord sends you right here, man. And I know what someone's thinking, that, you know what I mean? That's not the Bible. Yes, it is the Bible. And if you want, I can show you lots of verses where whenever someone wanted to seek the Lord, they went to find a man. They didn't just seek the Lord and it was just them and God, you know what I mean? God doesn't have a individual relationship with you. You know what I mean? That's what the church says. What happened at camp? The guy said he spoke to God and came to us like, God said that he likes every single one of you. So matter of fact, God, you break it down, man.
So at camp now, wrapping up with Christians like, you know, what's this you do, man? Or maybe do our team. Okay. Those way come back and like, you know what, God just said love you. I was like, just now, just right now.
And there you go. See, he thinks he has some personal relationship with God where God talks to him directly. He comes back like, God loves every single one of you. Like as if he just spoke to God there and then and come back like, God loves you lot. And guess what? It don't work like that. When you find God, God sends you right here, man. God sends you to the schools in Harlem, the schools in Boston, the schools in DC, the school in the UK. God sends you right here. God don't talk to you directly and it's you and him alone. You know what I mean? It don't work like that. God sends you to men of the Lord. Hold that. Give me Isaiah 58 and 4. And how do we know this? Isaiah, he said this too, man. In Isaiah 58. 1 second. Not yet. 1 second. I'll find it for you. Isaiah 58. Sorry, it's Isaiah 58 and 2.
Isaiah 58 and 2. Yet they seek me daily.
So keep that in mind. Isaiah, Israelites seeked Isaiah. They would look for Isaiah, and we're going to find out why. Read.
And delight to know my ways. As a nation that did righteousness.
So now they saw Isaiah to know the Most High's ways. When it says my ways, Why? Because the Most High, he's talking to Isaiah. So they sought Isaiah to know the ways of the Most High. You couldn't just know it by yourself. You couldn't learn God just by, you know what I mean, you and God in your little relationship, you know what I mean? You had to seek Isaiah to learn the ways of the Most High, if everyone understands. Read on.
And forsook not the ordinance of their God. They asked of me the ordinance of justice.
And whoa, so now they ask of Isaiah what?
Ordinance of justice.
So they ask of Isaiah the law, man, what to do, what's righteous. So you can't just do it with your personal relationship with God where God talks to you and him one-on-one. That's not the Bible. You want to seek God. You learn from the men of God. There's no personal relationships with God. You mean in the UPK, there's nothing that me and God have just, you mean, it's no one else, just me and God. The same way everyone else had the same understanding of God, I have it too, man. Got something?
When you pray and an angel sends you, you pray through Christ, and I'm going to say, it's like if you're praying, that who sends the message to them? So on.
Oh, it's an angel.
Through Christ, so it's like an angel.
That's correct, yeah. I believe in the angel, who's again, Raphael or something in the book of Tobit about he sends them up. But there's one angel that is his job.
So he sends it to Christ.
And yeah, so now with Christ, he's like an intercessor, like, you know what I mean, please, you know what I mean, bear with them, you know what I mean, just give them another chance, you know what I mean. So you're praying like, please, you know what I mean, forgive me for this. And with Christ, he makes it sound nicer. You know what I mean, you said it, but with Christ, he knows how to, I wouldn't say convince the Most High, but to make it sound more better, which is in the Bible too. Where is it in Romans 8? So now with Christ, he makes it sound nice, like, please, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm working on him. Give him or her a second chance. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'll set them up nice. They're gonna come in the UPK next week, man. They're gonna get it right. You mean he wears it nice? What you say sounds good, but that's not how with Christ he's gonna let the Most High hear it though. You know what I mean? You got that.
1 Samuel 9:9.
Yes, grab that one as well.
1 Samuel 9:9. Before time in Israel, when men went to inquire of God.
So now hang on. When men went to inquire of God, so when someone wanted to ask of God, read.
Thus he spake, come and let us go to the seer.
Who?
The seer.
A seer. A seer is a man of God. I believe that's the old way of saying yeah. So basically, that's the same thing. So a prophet and the seer, they're just synonymous words. But when people wanted to inquire of God, they would see a seer, a prophet. Read.
For he that is now called a prophet was before time called a seer.
There, so that's self-explanatory. A prophet and a seer are the same thing. But the point being made, if you wanted to ask of God, you would see them. You didn't have your personal relationship with God. You saw a man of God. But now, because of religion and everyone's feelings, they think, you know, God talks to me directly. I just feel like he's with me and he's in my mind. And that's you, but that's not the truth. How you feel and the truth, that's two different things, man. You can feel one way, but the truth is the opposite. You got the one for me in the Romans 8 about the Romans 8 about the spirit, it's intercessor. That's right.
Romans 8:26. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities.
So now the Spirit of Christ, how you know what I mean? It basically helps us with things that we cannot handle. So it helps you, man. You know what I mean? You're probably fighting an addiction, or you know what I mean, anything that may make this walk hard for you, but that Spirit helps your infirmities. is fighting, you mean, to make sure that you serve the Lord. Read on.
For we know not what we should pray.
So now we know not. So you think, like, I'm going to pray for this and Lord help me. But really, that same spirit, it knows that you don't know what you're talking about. You're praying like, I need this, Lord. I need that. And the Spirit's like, no. You don't need any of that, man. You know what I mean? You're like, please, man, I want my wife in the truth. That Spirit's like, no. You want to know, she needs to go, and guess what? In the school, I got a nice woman for him. Your Spirit saying something, but that Spirit saying, nah. What you mean? His high, you know what I mean? Forget him. I know what he needs. And that's all of us, man. We pray thinking we know what we want, but that Spirit that we're reading about, it really knows what we need, man. You mean people say all the time, I'm a kid's in the truth, and that Spirit's like, nah. You mean you said that, but when the Most High is like, nah, he said that, but he don't know what he's talking about. What he needs, he needs a new wife, a new kid, new family. You mean that Spirit, it really says what you need, not what you want. Read on.
God. For we know not what we should pray.
And we know not, meaning you think, you pray like, please, man, I need some money. I need this. But you don't know what you really want, man. All of us do. We all pray thinking, listen, I need this. But that Spirit that presents itself to the Most High, he knows what you really need. Why? Because you don't know what you need. You think it's money, confidence, or whatever the case may be. I'm just using some examples, but you really do not know. Read on.
We ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us.
Intercession meaning that speaks on your behalf. So now with Yahushua, he's basically speaking on your behalf. So you're praying and he's like, so now you mean he gets the report. So he's praying that he needs a new car, new house, and his daughter's fine. And Christ goes, he don't know what he's talking about, man. Yeah, Father, what he really needs is this. And that's how it works. You know what I mean? So we don't know what we're talking about. We pray and you are meant to pray, and it's good that you do. But you know what I mean? Say what you say. Of course, you know what I mean? If you think that that's what you need, but always know that it's not really in your hands. There's someone higher than you that's speaking on your behalf, and he knows what you really need. Read on.
Intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered.
So now there's things that we say, but we don't know what we want. And there's things that can't even be uttered. There's things that you should be saying, but you're not saying it. So you mean there's things that really you should say, but you don't because you don't know what you want. So what you're meant to utter, you're not doing it. And really, that's what you need help with. But guess what? You have someone who talks on your behalf and he knows what you want. So you mean ain't nothing wrong with having a pray at night, but always know that you may not get what you want. You're gonna get what you need. Read on.
With groanings which cannot be uttered. Verse 27. And he that searcheth the heart knoweth what is in the mind of the Spirit.
So now, from what we just read, who is that? Who is he that searcheth the hearts?
Most High.
That's right. Meaning the Most High, he knows your mind. He knows what you really need. Even though you think, I need this new car because my other car ain't working and all that. The Most High, listen, you don't need no car, man. You wonder what you need to do? You need to read the Bible sometimes. You need to do some research. You need to come to camp. And that's how it goes, man. You think it's one thing, but the Lord knows, nah, I'm doing this. Why? Because I want you to work on this. I want you to get this right. Read on.
Because he maketh intercession for the saints.
And he speaks for the saints. Who are the saints? The saints are the Israelites. So you mean, so we have someone intercessing, speaking on our behalf. Why? Because we're the Israelites and he knows what we need, man. Read on. Or is it on that?
According to the will of God.
All right. No, so there's another one about an intercessor. Hebrew. No. I think it's in Revelations. about the prayers before the altar. That's a good one too as well. I'll find it for you. Revelations. I know it's there about the prayers, and I'll quickly grab that one as well. The prayers and an altar. Prayer for the altar revelation. It's Revelations 8:4. Let me see.
Revelation 8:4. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before the God out of the angel's hand.
Out of the angel's hand. So that lets you know what happens up above. You know what I mean? We can't see it, but whenever we, you know what I mean, ask something of the Lord, it basically goes up, and there's an angel there who's letting the Most High know. Well, he's letting Yahweh know, who lets the Most High know. Like, listen, like, you know what I mean? He's praying for this. He's begging for this, and then of course now him being, and I mean him speaking on our behalf, words it nicer. You know what I mean? Really gets into what we really need. Read on.
And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it onto the earth.
So now this lets you know some of the things that we ask for, man. And we do this in every class. And I want to see who can understand this. So you can read that again, verse 5.
And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth.
Read on.
And there were voices and thunderings and lightning and earthquake.
So now some of the prayers that was sent up, what was some of them about? That's right, let's give her a hand. So now, meaning that, you mean, so now they're like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I hate this earth, I want it destroyed. And then now those same prayers that they had, they was thrown on the earth. And what happened? Thunderings, earthquakes, like in the UPK. You know what I mean? We hit the Edomites. You know what I mean? Every nation, all the terrorists. That's in the Bible. They prayed and the Lord heard it. And on the earth were earthquakes, thunderings. So when people think, you know, these guys are terrorists, what are they talking about? That's not godly. They're praying for the death of enemies and the what's some of them, the Pope, the Roman Catholic Church. This is in the Bible, man. And you got some.
Seriously, like, as I've seen more things happen, and do is pray against it. Pray for it would be just absolutely done.
I got you.
Also, Christ said that we must do it in Luke 18.
Let's grab that one as well. Which verse is it?
It's Luke 18:1.
Luke 18:1. All right, let's grab that.
Luke 18:1. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought to pray and not to faint.
And not to faint, meaning don't get weak. If someone faints, means that they're weak. So even Yahweh said to pray and not faint, meaning don't get weak. I mean, some people, I'm not praying no more. God ain't listening. That's someone that's fainted. That's someone that's got weak. But with Christ, he said, don't get weak, to pray and do not faint. Read on.
Saying, there was in a city a judge which feared not the Most High, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of my enemies.
Okay, so now, for those that don't know, this represents us. We're saying, avenge me. You mean we pray like let loose all the terrorists, man? You mean we're the people that we are the only people that look and go, that's not right. And you mean that every nation has a part in this and avenge us? Read on.
Verse 4. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard of man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her. So
now, because she kept asking, he's like, you know what? I'm going to avenge her. I'm going to do it. And guess what? That's us, man. You mean it hasn't happened yet, but the Lord's going to avenge us. You mean, like, for example, what he just read is basically like meaning it was a long time. Then I will avenge her. And just like us, man, we've been doing that since 1969. The curses that we read, it ain't anything new. That's been here since 1969, and it was a while, but the Lord will avenge us. Read on.
Lest by her continual coming she weary me. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge said, and shall not the Most High avenge his own elect?
And shall not the Most High avenge his own elect? Who are the elect? We are, man. Every black man, every Hispanic man, you are the elect of the Lord. And the Lord's saying, if an unrighteous man, he would help someone because they ask of him day and night. Would not the Most High do it for his elect? Would not the Most High do it for the people that he chose? Yes, he will, man. God. The Lord will avenge us, man. You mean, in the eyes of the Lord, it's a while. For us, it's 400 years. To the Lord, that's just a minute. What's the verse about? One day to the Lord is as 1,000 years. Meaning, what we see as long, in the eyes of the Lord, that's nothing, man. The white man ruling under Rome, in the eyes of the Lord, that's nothing. To us, that's a long, you mean, for us, that's long. In the eyes of the Lord, that's just minutes. And now that's the problem. People start to faint, and you know what I mean? I've been praying and I've been doing camp and I'm leaving the truth and all that. Not understanding that to us, it's long. But in the eyes of the Lord, this is minutes. This is seconds. When it talks about the last beast, what did it say? It only has 1 hour, meaning just a short time. And with America, you know what I mean? With America as we know it is 400 years old, but the Lord, he calls that 1 hour. For us, it's like 400 years, but the Lord sees that as 1 hour, man. So the Lord will avenge us, just that our time and his time, two different time scales, man. For us, it's thousands of years, hundreds of years. That's minutes. Hours, like, you know what I mean? It's nothing. And that's the problem. That's why up at verse 1, it says, don't faint, don't get weak. Because people, you know what I mean, after a while, when things don't go their way, what happens? You know what I mean? I'm leaving the truth. They get camp, man. No one ain't listening. You know what I mean? Everyone always says certain things like that. And why? Because they fainted. They got weak. Not understanding that a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, man. And that's in the Bible. Read on.
And shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him?
And there, the elect, the Israelites, they cry day and night, man. You're telling me we don't? Black people suffering up in my side, up in Liverpool, in Tuxteth. And believe me, they ask of the Most High day and night, and the Lord will avenge them, man. Read on.
Which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them. I tell you, he will avenge them speedily.
And there you go. Though he bear long with them, in our sight, it's long, man. We're like, you know, when? But the Lord will avenge us as fast as he can, man. But again, I mean, one day to the Lord is as 1,000 years. Although we're like, you know, now. The Lord's going to do it in the right time, man. Read on.
Khan. Nevertheless, the Son of Man cometh. Shall he find faith on the earth?
And there you go. Because people don't want to wait. When Yahushua returns, will he find faith on the earth? That's the question. saying that are people willing to wait that long though? That's the problem. And that's what all of us need to think. You know what I mean? We don't know when it's gonna happen, but are you willing to wait? You know what I mean? Everyone likes, you know what I mean? And God's gonna destroy this and that, but you gotta wait for it. And when he returns, will he find faith? Will he find you doing the work? Which is in the Bible about when he returns, about some people, they stopped doing the work and started to smite the men of the Lord. That's another verse in the Bible that some people couldn't wait and they fainted. And then they started to hate the truth and started to, you know what I mean, stop doing their work. So that's another thing that we need to be mindful of too. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Priest and Officer Karathia. Yeah.
Okay, I.S.U.P.K security announcements. With the I.S.U.P.K started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will call each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10. With 10 for the Hebrew Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or the teacher. Priest fund, not mandatory. Free will, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations, Passover, 20th of April, sundown at the Woodhaven
Banquet Hall
in Queens, New York.
That's right.
Queens, New York. All after check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. If anyone wants to be a troop in the school, start with all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, headscarf. And with that, Al-Mahdi, the rising face to the east. And this is the Lord's Prayer. And it's Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kudash. Hayah. Shamkar. Yahweh. Balakvavka. Taba'ah. Ratazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Baratazak. Kawa. Hayah. Bashamayim. Lefanawa. Lakam. Cow. Yawam. Wasalaknawa. Kabawafnawa. Kasalaknawa. Kabawafinawa. Wala'a. Tabayainawa. Banasayawan. Abal. Hawashainawa. Mayan. Right. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Wahafapara. I will love you. Amen.
And in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it.
And the prayer for the power, Yahweh. Ba'Shem Yahavushai. Bamakasha. Nathanawa. Haka. Larapa'ah. Kalmakala. Wakalmaluwa. Haka. Lataha. Hamatazarayim. Haka. Lahakriya. Hamathia. Haka. Arakawa. Hatama'ala. Lagarashan. Ba'Shem Yahavushai. The Wada Aman. And in the English,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahushai,
in the name of Yahushua,
please give us the our
please give us
the power to heal,
the power to heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of sickness,
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean spirits,
the power against unclean spirits,
to cast them out,
to cast them out,
in the name of Yahushai.
in the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. And the blessings, Barakatah Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Wa Yahushua,
Wa Yahushai,
Wa Miyaka Allah,
Wa Miyaka'ala,
Wa Alahayim,
Wa Alahayim,
Wa Tazab Ya'ah,
Matazab Ya'ah,
Allah Yahanna,
Ala Wapihanna,
Ha Allah
Ha Ala Wapim,
Ha Suranyam,
Ha Saranyam,
Ha Kosayanyam,
Ha Patazayanyam,
Ha Kaliyayam,
Ha Kali Aliyam,
Wa Wafyam,
Wa Akwapim,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Wa Hashem Yahushua,
Wa Hashem Yahushai,
Wa Aman.
Wa Aman, and in the English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh,
and Yahushai,
and Yahushua,
and Michael,
and Michael,
and the angels, commanding General Yahanna,
commanding General Yahanna,
the generals,
the general,
the captains,
the captains,
the officers,
the officers,
the troopers,
the troopers,
and the sisters,
and the sisters,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahushai.
in the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. And the curses, blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living,
and all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahushua.
in the name of Yahushai.
Listen to us now,
Listen to us now,
right now, send evils and curses,
and evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction,
and punishments and destruction,
and death to the heathen
and death to the heathen
that speak against
that
us,
speak against us,
thy prophets,
thy prophets,
the teachers,
the teachers,
the princes,
the princes,
the priests,
the priests,
the Israelite brothers,
the Israelite brothers,
and the school,
and the schools,
and evils and curses,
and evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction,
and punishments and destruction,
and death to the heathen,
and death to the heathen,
and shake loose the pockets
and shake loose the pockets
of the rich of Israel
of the rich of Israel
that refuse to give to the school,
that refuse to give to the school,
force their riches
force their riches
to enter into thy sanctuary,
to enter into thy sanctuary,
send evils and curses,
and evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction,
and punishments and destruction,
and death to the Edomites,
and death to the Edomites,
and the nations,
and their nations,
and their drug dealers,
and their drug dealers,
the court system,
the court system,
the prison system,
the prison system,
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood,
all the governments of our enemies,
all the governments of our enemies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church,
Islam,
Christianity, Egyptology, militia,
Ku Klux Klan,
Aryan
Nation,
skinheads,
Particle
Matazi,
the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, army, navy, air force, marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airways, the cable access channels, and the radio channels, convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift death to all the heathen that stand in the way, or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the terrorists, call them to go to and fro through the earth and destroy, call the terrorists to come against America and the UK and the EU and destroy them in their strongholds, call the terrorists. Let America shake at the hands of the terrorists. Let Yahweh shine. Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and kill all the heathen that come up against us as we speak thy word, call it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Call it to be spread through the media. throughout the whole world.
Throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
With the blessed Israel, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Barak Tanawa.
Barak Tanawa.
Wayashu'ala.
Wayashu'ala.
Wahabayah.
Wahabayah.
Sapayah.
Sapayah.
Barak Papa.
Barak Papa.
Magan Hagan.
Magan Hagan.
Aiden.
Aiden.
Okay. Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Tawada Aman.
Tawada Aman.
And what were the symbols? Lord, in the name of Jesus, bless us and Israel and Israel. Bless your shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. And with that men of Israel, we're going to give one case to the teacher. As men of Israel, I Madim Shabbat. I Madim Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yajamata, hands down. Asa, his turn. With one case to the sisters. Men of Israel, I Madim Shabbat. I Madim Barak. Yahweh Shema Alatah Ba'ashem Yahushua. Yajamata, hand down, and class dismissed.
Hey.